You know, I've been on this earth a long time. I've seen a lot of things: fame, fortune, failure, heartbreak, even miracles. I've stood on stages in front of thousands, and I've been on my knees alone in the dark. But there's one thing I saw that, man, I'll never forget. I remember standing there in this quiet little corner of the world, just watching a group of Muslims pray. Now listen, I done seen folks pray before. I grew up in the church. I've seen pastors shout, people cry, hands raised high, music shaking the room, spirit flowing everywhere. But this was different. There wasn't no music, no lights, no crowd, no cameras, no noise. Just a line of men standing shoulder to shoulder, brothers in formation. And when that call to prayer came, man, it was like time stopped. That voice echoed through the air, soft but powerful. You didn't have to understand the words to feel them. It wasn't just a call to prayer. It was a summons to peace. And I remember thinking, now hold on. What kind of devotion makes a man stop everything he's doing 5 times a day just to bow before his Lord? They all face one direction, toward Mecca. And then, like one heartbeat, they moved. Hands folded, heads bowed, then down to the ground, their foreheads touching the floor. And right there, that image burned itself into my mind, because you don't see that kind of humility no more. Not in the world where everybody's trying to stand taller than the next man, but these were grown men, strong men, fathers, workers, leaders, putting their faces to the earth, not because they were weak, but because they knew who they were bowing to. And I tell you, man, that right there changed something in me. At first, I didn't understand what was happening. No one was speaking English. I couldn't follow the words, but I could feel it, that peace, that surrender. The man beside me had his eyes closed, whispering something under his breath, tears just barely touching his cheek. And I thought, he's talking to God like he knows him, like he sees him. Then it hit me. Muslims don't just pray. They meet God 5 times a day, every day. Rich or poor, happy or broken. They stop, they wash up, and they step into his presence. You ever seen a man wash his hands, his face, his feet, and you just know it ain't just water? It's like he's washing the world off before he goes to talk to his creator. That's what I saw, and I couldn't take my eyes off it. See, I've prayed plenty in my life, but not like that. Not with that discipline, that silence, that consistency. And I thought, Lord, maybe that's what I've been missing. Not belief, I've always believed, but that structure, that rhythm, that commitment. Because these folks, they don't pray when life gets hard. They pray because it's who they are. They don't wait for Sunday morning or a sermon or a song. They just stop wherever they are and say, God, you're still greater than anything I'm facing. And man, that's powerful. When you see a man bowing in the dirt while the world keeps moving, you realize he's the one who's truly free. I ain't gonna lie, I got emotional watching it. I'm not Muslim, but I felt something. It was like the silence itself had a heartbeat. And I said to myself, Steve, all your life you've been running, from moment to moment, show to show, fixing this, chasing that. But when was the last time you just stopped? But that's what hit me hardest. These brothers, they pause for God 5 times a day. Imagine that. While we out here saying, man, I don't even have time to breathe, they're saying, I'm gonna make time for the one who gave me breath. That's why when they walk out after prayer, you see peace on their faces. They ain't rushing, they ain't distracted, they're steady. And that's the fruit of obedience. When you honor God in private, he gives you peace in public. And it ain't just the men. I saw little boys praying beside their fathers, women, heads covered, whispering verses with such reverence you could feel it. It was a whole community of worship, not performance, not for show, just faith. And I thought, this is how you build generations that don't forget who they are. Because a child who grows up watching his daddy bow to God, that's a child who learns humility early. That's a home where gratitude ain't just spoken, it's shown. After that day, I couldn't shake the feeling. It followed me home. It followed me on stage. It followed me when I laid down at night. And I started wondering, what if every one of us, no matter our faith, just stopped once a day, just to bow, to breathe, to remember? Wouldn't the world be softer? Wouldn't we be kinder? Because when you see Muslims pray, you realize this ain't religion versus religion. It's remembrance. It's humility. It's knowing who you belong to. That call to prayer, the adhan, it stayed in my head for days. I've heard music from all over the world. I've stood next to choirs that can shake buildings. But that call, it wasn't entertainment. It was invitation. An invitation to peace. When that sound hits the air, everything else feels small. Your worries, your noise, all of it just fades. And I realized Muslims don't pray because life is easy. They pray because life is not. Man, that hit me. I've been through storms, lost jobs, friends, made mistakes big enough to fill books. And when you've been down like that, you start craving something real. And that day, watching them pray, I saw real. No audience, no applause, no performance, just them and God. When I saw those men go into sujood, their foreheads touching the floor, I couldn't move, because that's the highest act a human can do, to go that low. In a world where everyone wants to be seen, to stand tall, they were saying, Lord, none of it means anything without you. And when they rose, they looked lighter, like they left something heavy down there on the floor.
That's when I understood. Sujood means surrender. Not the kind that breaks you, the kind that sets you free. See, the world teaches the wrong kind of strength. Never bend, never bow, never cry. But real strength, it's in humility, in saying, I'm not in control, but I trust the one who is. When I saw those brothers bow, I saw courage, because it takes courage to let go. And the unity, man, that was something else. No one louder than the other, no one trying to stand out, all equal in that moment. Rich, poor, black, white, didn't matter. When your head's on the floor before God, everybody's the same height. And that's beautiful. Then prayer ended. They sat quietly, whispering words, smiling softly. No rush, no phones, just peace. And I asked one brother, what do you feel when you pray like that? He said, Brother Steve, when my head's on the floor, it's the only time I don't feel small. That hit me hard. He said, when my head's on the ground, I feel closer to heaven than when I'm standing tall. And that's when I realized prayer ain't about posture. It's about proximity. It's about getting closer to the one who made you. Since that day, I've been thinking, how many times I let the noise drown out gratitude? How many times I forgot to just stop? If they can pause 5 times a day, what's stopping me from stopping once? Because you don't pray just to get something. You pray to thank God for everything you already have. And that changed how I see success. Success ain't accumulation, it's alignment. You can have a mansion and still be empty. You can have a jet and still feel lost. But when your heart's aligned with gratitude, that's peace. And Muslims, they walk in peace. They even say it every time they meet. Assalamu alaikum, peace be upon you. Now that's a world I want to live in. A world where people start conversations with peace, not argument. Where they gather not to gossip, but to pray. When I left that prayer hall, something in me shifted. It wasn't conversion, it was connection. Because faith in any form is about one thing: remembering God when the world forgets him. And Muslims remember 5 times a day. That's why they walk with calm, with honor. Because when you remember your Creator that often, it's hard to mistreat his creation. That day, I stopped seeing Muslims as different. I started seeing them as devoted. And devotion, that's a light the world's running out of. Later, I came across a verse from the Quran. Indeed, in the remembrance of Allah do hearts find rest. And man, that's it. That's the whole thing. Because peace doesn't come from cars, houses, followers, trophies. That's just noise. Real rest comes when your heart remembers who it belongs to. And their hearts remember 5 times a day. So when people ask me, Steve, what did you see when you watched Muslims pray? I tell them, I saw peace, I saw discipline, I saw devotion. I saw love, love so pure it didn't need words. And maybe the world don't understand it. Maybe they misunderstand Islam, Muslims, or prayer itself. But me, I saw people talking to their Creator. And that was the most beautiful thing I've ever seen.